I'm currently watching the Knicks get absolutely obliterated by the Sacramento Kings right now. And apparently, there's some other news going on in the New York sports world. They did it. Those sons of bitches did it. It appears, not 100%. Hopefully, this isn't another arson judge situation. It appears the Giants are going to be hiring John Harbaugh to be their next NFL head coach. It is now midnight on January 15th. Remember where you were in this moment right now. And I apologize. Both my roommates are sleeping. This is obviously, I don't think I've ever streamed this late. Why the hell would I? But this is something that warranted me getting on here, speaking with you, speaking with all my fellow Giants fans on a night like tonight. The Giants did it. They did it. I can't remember the last time that I was this hyped up. Maybe the Eagles game a couple of months ago, but you catch my drift. The magnitude of this moment, of that report from Paul Schwartz, will hopefully be felt for years and years and years. It would be a very Giants thing, though, if this hiring turns out for naught and nothing ends up happening. The Giants don't win anything. But either way, we are back in the conversation. We are no longer the laughingstock of the NFL. That's the most important conclusion. That's the most important takeaway from all this. The Giants are not a laughingstock. That's it. You can have whatever reactions that you want to have. Oh, they're going to win a Super Bowl. They're going to the playoffs. They're going to make a run. Fine. That's your prerogative. You can take away whatever you want from this. But the fact of the matter is, above all else, the Giants are back on the fucking map. They are back. And no one's saying that they're going to contend right away. No one is saying right now that all these issues that the Giants have with Joe Shane, potential issues, listen, knock on wood, that isn't. All this stuff needs to be ironed out. His contract details, everything. I'd like to see what level of input that Joe Shane has in football operations before I make my next proclamation. But as of right now, the Giants are back. We are back as fans. We are now allowed to buy back in. We had hope. We had that sliver of hope. There was a time for all of us where we woke up every morning wondering what the hell the Giants going to do at the quarterback position. Well, they figured that out. So that was step one. They fired their terrorist defensive coordinator. That was step two. And tonight, the culmination of those three steps, the Giants are back. John Harbaugh is the next Giants head coach. I can't believe this is my life. I cannot believe it. And there is a certain level of pessimism that stems from me and my takes. And every time you listen to me, you can sense that I look at things with a glass half empty approach. And that did extend to this. Yesterday, I did say, I do not think the Giants are going to get this right. I think they're going to get to the finish line. They're going to collapse, and another team is going to lap them and finish first. They proved me wrong. They proved me wrong for once. They went all out. They got their man. And you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity. Thank you, Brian Dable. Thanks, Brian Dable. He's a huge part of this. You think Harbaugh would have wanted to come to the Giants without a quarterback? Do you think that Joe Shane was the one who advocated for the Giants to draft Jackson Dart? Shout out to Brian Dable. And shout out to the rest of the Giants organization, Steve Tisch, Chris Mara, John Mara, Jackson Dart for getting this done, for sealing the deal. And that's another person that I'd like to give flowers to. John Mara. Who knows how much longer he has left to live? I think it's very fitting for him. And I'm sure that he can hang his head on his pillow now, knowing that this could be his defining legacy before he passed. And knock on wood, hopefully John Mara recovers from cancer and hopefully it goes into remission. He ends up being completely fine. But in the case that it doesn't, and in the case this is the last big move that he makes as the owner of the Giants, what a fucking move that is. What a move that is. If you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman. We got some comments already in here. Let's go. Got the American flag. We got my guy Ryan Garcia here in the chat. Dude, I mean, isn't this what we've all been hoping for? Isn't this what we've been waiting for? The yearning for something special. The yearning for anything real. This physical object, Giants competency, can now be gripped and held. That is where we are, guys. This is real. This is physical. It exists as a state of matter. The Giants are back on the fucking map. And I said this before, if you're just joining now, thanks. Remember this moment where you were at 12:06, January 15th, and hopefully you haven't got to sleep yet. And if you have, and clearly you're not watching this right now, but if you are and watching this next morning, well, I wish you were here to experience this. I wish you were here to open up your phone to Paul Schwartz of all people. Respect to Paul Schwartz. He talking about giving flowers. Congratulations for him to him for being the one to break this. But remember where you were, opening your phone and looking at Paul Schwartz's tweet that the Giants look like they're going to be hiring John Harbaugh to be their next head coach. And again, if you're just joining now, I think all of the fans and everyone watching this shares my sentiments and shares the fact that this means something. This is tangible. There have been 3 steps to this. First was the drafting of Jackson Dart. Second was the firing of Shane Bowen and getting the coaching staff right. And the last is, of course, hiring their head coach. But this is what it took. This is what it took. And I open with this. I'm currently watching the Knicks get their belt to ass by the Sacramento Kings with 10 wins. 10 wins. The Knicks are getting blown out by the Sacramento Kings. But thankfully, that isn't the only important sporting event going on with New York metropolitan teams. Man, I mean, this is a long time coming. Speaking for myself, being a 25-year-old Giants fan, I remember exactly where I was for the 2 Super Bowl wins. Was I old enough to actually take those in and enjoy them? Was I old enough to go to the parade? Was I old enough to be able to take that experience in and really savor it? I was not. I was old enough to watch the win against the Vikings. I was old enough to watch the win against the Eagles this year. That wasn't the real thing. It was the sliver of hope that each and every Giants fan has been yearning for since they last won the Super Bowl in 2011. It's a long time coming. We deserve this. I said for the longest time, good stuff does not happen to us as Giants fans. Now, I've said that for years of the Knicks. That remains to be seen. Again, they're losing by 20 points to the Sacramento Kings. Good things didn't happen for Giants fans. Well, a good thing just fucking happened tonight. John Harbaugh is going to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. This is a collective effort. You can't point to one specific person. The Giants sent an all-out blitz. They sent it in Gauge 8. And it appears like they've got their man. This monumental, guys. It's monumental. Like, think of how it's felt over the last 14 years, playoff win aside. Think about how it has felt waking up every morning and knowing your football team is unserious, knowing your football team and your dump of a stadium has not seen a home playoff game since 2011. Giants fans who truly understand what that was like are the ones right now who could truly take this in and feel this moment and feel the tide actively shifting, to feel the page turning to a better era and a better time for Giants fans and the Giants franchise as the Knicks cut this to 18. I'm sorry. That computer is now closed. I'm focusing on the positives. When I'm done with this, I will be turning that game back on. But for right now, we are focusing on this extremely important event, this extremely important moment in history. How are we feeling? How are we feeling? I know I'm not alone. I mean, clearly, I've got 98 people in here at 12:11 on an early Thursday morning. How are we feeling? Do you share my exuberance? Do you share this sentiment? You don't need to comment. I already know. And here, you know what? I'm glad. I need more of these. Give me a comment. Johnny's ice cream. Johnny ice cream. He won't save the organization. No one is saying he will. But his hiring puts this team and this franchise on the map. For now, the Giants are no longer a laughingstock. It's pretty telling. The biggest story going into the divisional round of the playoffs is the Giants' pursuit of John Harbaugh. And now their hiring of John Harbaugh. And going into this weekend, of course, there are playoff games to be played. This is the biggest story. It's not the lead up to all these huge games and these great matchups this weekend. It's this. So no, we cannot say that he is going to, in fact, save the organization. But to say that he won't, take your hat out of your ass. That's probably a Jets fan. Mario De Francis. I don't know. Ask Mike Francesa. What up, Drew? I'm surprised you're up. Of all people, Drew Nardone is up. And it finally feels we're on the right track for the first time in ages. Dude, I mean, like, this is the feeling, and that's why I'm trying to get people to savor this, to remember it, and to soak it in. Because if this all goes to shit, like, this is the one moment that we have. Like, if nothing ever amounts from this, like, we have this moment. Like, that's kind of how I looked at it with the Eagles game. Like, all right, they beat their arch nemesis. I hate the Eagles. I want to kill every single Eagles fan. They just outstaged them on primetime on Thursday Night Football. That was fucking amazing. And Sean Morash and myself did a reaction podcast on One Giant Step. And I sat there and I'm like, this feels amazing. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to enjoy it for as long as it lasts. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's kind of where I'm urging you to be at as well. All right, here we go. Johnny Ice Cream. That explains a lot. How about you focus on your team in the playoffs right now, all right? Go to sleep, Johnny. Go to sleep. But man, I mean, it's just like it's hard to pinpoint the last time I felt like this as a Giants fan. And people out there, you're watching this, you understand. I don't doubt that for a single second that you don't understand how this feels, how it's felt in the past. It's difficult when you're a diehard football fan. You know, you play fantasy. Your kid, you play Madden. And none of your players are relevant. Your team isn't relevant. Your franchise isn't relevant? You're loading up Madden, your best player is Graham Gano at 82 overall? That does something to you. And these are minute details. Video games not going to change how one believes and feels about their team, but that's something. That is something. It physically exists. The Giants being a laughingstock and a joke of an organization, it existed. In nature, it was there. And we had hope. We had a few silver linings. We had the fluke playoff win in 2022. But the Giants are now back. This is real, guys. This is real. And enjoy it while it lasts. Because again, everything could go to shit, but for right now, the Giants are fucking back. They are back. And now, you know what? You know what? I can wear my Giants jersey. I can wear my gear proudly. I can walk down the street with my head held high. Like all those ugly and terribly smelling Eagles fans that I see on the streets in New York City, much less the fuck back to Philadelphia. And speaking of Philadelphia, that's one fan base that rightfully so shaking in their boots right now. Chris Goodwin says, is this really done? Not 100% done. It does not appear like this is going to be an arson judge situation. But since you got that tweet from Adam Schefter, it's as good of a done deal as possible. Chris also says, this kind of reminds me when we signed Dan Reeves, which I didn't like, but I think JH is better than Reeves. I think JH might be the best coaching candidate in any coaching cycle since Andy Reid when he left the Eagles. I think John Harbaugh was more sought after. He got fired and 8 teams reached out. There were 7 openings. A team with a head coach reached out. So I don't think that should be lost upon us. The Giants got the biggest prize at the fair. They won it. They did something. They finally did what we've been asking them to do. And that's be relevant. Be relevant. And for years, they just did not know what to do. They didn't know how to get to that point. They saw other teams, their biggest rivals, getting the quarterback right, getting the right head coach, figuring it out. The Commanders last year going to the NFC Championship game. And just when you thought there was no reason to believe, the Giants draft Jackson Dart. I keep bringing it up, but it's one of the best moments of my Giants fandom. The Giants winning against the Eagles on Thursday Night Football early on this past season. And now finally, the culmination of all of this, the Giants hire John Harbaugh. Dude, I mean, I'm not jealous. I just like, you're currently up at 12-18 commenting on a Giants fans live stream. You're in the playoffs. No one cares. Josh Allen, great quarterback. All right. No one's going to disagree with you. Get lost. It's a pinch me moment, guys. It's pinch me. Okay. All right. I'll give that to you. Thanks for your viewership then. Respect. You might need to smoke a lot of weed after the Bills blow another playoff game. I'm rooting for them, though. I digress. Speaking of the Bills, I mean, listen, those fans understand what it's like. They understand what it's like. Jackson Dart could be really, really good. Do I think he's on the level of Josh Allen? No. And that's not saying anything about Jackson Dart. It's more or less saying something about the fact that the Bills were able to get it right because they drafted the quarterback. And that's rarefied air that the Bills are in. The most important way across the league to get good, to get to a level of competency, to get to a level where you're actually respected around the league, is to hire a head coach. The head coach changes everything. Not can change. Head coach changes everything for bad or for worse. Someone just commented Fernando Mendoza. Can you imagine? I hate to go back to this. This was me at this time last week. I was miserable. Can you imagine if the Giants lost one of those two games and had the first pick? John Harbaugh, the first pick. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm not tonight. Not tonight. Maybe if they fizzle out in the playoffs or they don't even make the playoffs. But man, that's where our heads need to be at. Like those are the types of conversations that we need to have now. Playoffs. And I'm very intrigued. And I said this before the Giants hired anyone. I think it is essential that the Giants get their offensive coordinator job right. Whoever they hire for that role. It's essential. When you've got a rookie quarterback. Defense, listen, you need a good defensive coordinator. I'm more focused on the offensive end. Again, the defense was historically bad. Charlie Bullen is getting defensive coordinating looks like full time. Like Shane Bowen was a terrorist, generationally bad defensive coordinator. Even if they get a remotely competent defense coordinator, you're going to see a night and day change. The offense is where it's important. Brian Daboll was an immature man-child. He couldn't get along with anyone. He had a massive ego. With all that being said, guy's an amazing offensive mind. The Giants had an amazing offensive mind in the building, and you saw how Jackson Dart developed early on in his career. When Brian Daboll wasn't focused on all the bullshit stuff that he had to deal with as head coach, and God knows he didn't. He was focused on grooming Jackson Dart to be the next great quarterback, and look how he turned out, at least for now. No one's saying that he's the next Peyton Manning. That's a terrible analogy. No one's saying he's the next Josh Allen. No one is saying that. What people are saying is the Giants just got John fucking Harbaugh. They just got Harbaugh. And Chris says, I think the Giants have to stick with Dart, and I'm glad they didn't have to make the mistake of choosing Mendoza over Dart. Do you know what Dart reminds me of? Joe Montana. And that scares me a shit ton. Respect. I will talk if you drop the stream. I know football. Okay. Well, I love Dart. Maybe we're better off not having picked one or the other. Yeah. I mean, it's good that the Giants weren't put into that position, but even if they were, they're sticking with Dart. Like once you have someone who looks like the franchise quarterback, you cannot, good conscience get rid of said player. Do you know how big of a disaster that would have been? The Giants traded away Jackson Dart, got a couple first-round picks, took Mendoza. Mendoza turned out to be a bust, while Jackson Dart went on to win a Super Bowl. Fans would have nuked the stadium. But now they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about anything. Now their Super Bowl winning head coach has to worry about it. Now at 63 years old, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a lot more left to prove. I think he's got a lot more left in the tank, but he's got a lot more to prove with this young upstart Giants team, who he took over at the best possible opportunity. We saw flashes of greatness. With the quarterback, most importantly, the offensive line. What is going on? We got okay. Honestly, No, I'm not I'm glad I'm not high at all right now. If you made it this far, I'll give you a little, uh, little story. The Knicks traded for Karl Anthony Towns. I was fried out of my mind. I was so high, and I saw it, and I was listen. I was sober enough to understand that I hated the move. And speaking of the move, oh my God, Karl Anthony Towns is terrible. He's awful. It's the worst move in Knicks franchise history. Idiots. I was high during that. I wasn't able to react or do anything, and I hated that moment. I'm very glad that I was too locked into Knicks basketball to do anything tonight. Fucking disaster. Mess. At least we had this, guys. You can't always just have all nice things. It's impossible. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is special, guys. Yes, yes. I probably should have clarified that. No, it wasn't crack. Uh, Look, the Giants still could take a quarterback, notwithstanding the fact they have Dart. You need a great quarterback to succeed in the NFL. Yeah. Wait, what? Dude, I mean, I can tell that you're high right now. Why the hell would the Giants take another quarterback? They got Jameis Winston, who's more than serviceable enough backup, and they have Jackson Dart, a guy who was good enough, who was deemed good enough by a Super Bowl winning head coach, who was 18 years the Ravens head coach and made the playoffs 12 out of 18 of those years. That guy just looked at tape of Jackson Dart and said, you know what? I want to coach that guy. And you've got Johnny Ice Cream and my YouTube chat saying that the Giants should have drafted a quarterback this year, or they should draft a quarterback. Come on. I don't even know why I'm entertaining that comment. Idiotic. Uh, Yeah, I mean, listen, you're on there. You're on your own with that, Johnny. I'm not even gonna put that one up. But yeah, man, I mean, this is again, I keep coming back to this repeatedly, like the importance, the magnitude of this, and especially coming from someone like me who's a younger Giants fan, 25 years old. Yeah, I'm still young. I'm not unk status yet, but like that's what I remember. Like growing up, like, you know, early high school, mid high school. You think I was asking my parents for birthday gifts? You know, Giants birthday gifts? You think I was asking my parents for Kenny Galladay jersey? Think I was asking my parents for like Corley's Darkwa jersey? I can go band for band. I mean, okay, we can talk about obscure, terrible Giants players all day. I did want a Victor Cruz jersey as a kid. Guys, that was the last time the Giants commanded respect around the league. Yeah, the upstart Giants, they won the playoff game in 2022, and they made the playoffs in 2016. They were a fucking joke because of that boat picture. Since that moment, no one has taken the Giants seriously. They've been the laughing stock. And if you're going to take away anything from this night, it's the fact that they are out of this position. This league of suck that they were in, along with the Jets, the Browns, the Titans. I guess the Titans, you know, had some good runs with Vrabel. But you catch my drift. These unserious franchises. Well, guys, they're no longer an unserious franchise as of Paul Schwartz's tweet at 11:30. Giants did it. They did it. Uh, just taking it in. Taking it in, guys. All right, it's 12:30. Go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm glad that this happened to get my mind off the fucking disaster from the Knicks tonight. That's another story for another day. If you tuned in this long, really appreciate it. I'm so happy for us. I'm so happy to be out of where we have been stuck for so long as Giants fans. And I'm glad that I'm sharing that with all of you. So if you like this, give me drop a like on Twitter, give me a follow. All these people talking in the YouTube chat, subscribe to me on YouTube as well. And tomorrow, Sean Morash and myself, Sean Morash, of course, of WFAN, we host One Giant Step together. He's wanted to do this with him tonight. I ended up doing this myself. Check that out wherever you get your podcast tomorrow night. We're going to record at 6. We'll get it out immediately. Going to be a lot to talk about. It's going to be a very sentimental, joyous occasion from Sean and myself. So I'm losing my voice. I've been looking in this freaking ring light for too long. We did it. We did it. John Mara did it. Steve Tisch did it. The Giants organization did it. They came through for us for once. Now let's see if John Harbaugh comes through for us as well. I think we're fucking back. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Good night. And let's fucking go, Giants, man. Let's go.